Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. This is Multifamily Chronicles, and I'm your host, Adrian Danila. Our guest today is Todd Barber. Welcome to the show, Todd.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it. Looking forward to chatting with you today.
Todd is the Director of Talent Acquisitions for Barber Group. Todd, please introduce yourself to the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're currently doing in your current role at Barber Group.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, thanks again for having me, Adrian. So Todd Barber, Director of Talent Acquisition here at Barber Group Management. I have been with the company coming up on 2 years now. I've spent my entire career in talent acquisition, spanning a couple different industries, most prominently electronic security with some larger electronic security integrators in the past. And just really enjoy the talent management, talent acquisition side of things, and talking with individuals and strategizing on how to get individuals to the organization I'm a part of. And yeah, really looking forward to today discussing, obviously we're in a pretty wild job market, post-COVID. So we're having to do things a little bit differently, and I'm really excited to give you a little snippet on what we're doing here at Barber Group, and to get that talent in the door, and then not only to get it in the door, but then to retain that talent for a long period of time. So appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. I think we have somebody else joining the call today, and this is Eddie Melendez. Eddie is the Regional Maintenance Manager for Barber Group. Eddie, can you hear us? Okay, we're gonna give Eddie a minute to maybe he has a little bit of a difficulty logging in. So Todd, I'm just gonna start with you, and I'm gonna ask you to provide a little overview of your maintenance technician apprenticeship program that you have started and his main objective.
Yep. Yeah. So, as I stated before, obviously talent's ever changing, is one of the toughest job markets we've ever been in. And specifically, our maintenance technician population. That is as our employee population ages and ages out of the technician type role. Unfortunately, on the front end, we're not, there's a shortage of qualified, certified talent coming into the business. So essentially what, I'm very passionate about, hiring for soft skills, hiring really well-rounded associates, as opposed to just looking at someone's resume and looking how many years of experience they have from a maintenance technician standpoint. So essentially what I was tasked with coming into the business was, let's create an apprenticeship program where we can do a little bit of everything, right? Number one, we have a really robust process to get people here so we can start that interview process and really screen out those soft skills that we're looking for. And then number two, once, the biggest thing for associates, they want to see, like, hey, from a path standpoint, what do I have to do to get to that next level, to get more money, to get certifications? Like, so we have drawn out a very lengthy plan, period of 5 years, that once an associate comes into the apprenticeship program, essentially they can see exactly what they're going to be a part of and how they can, if they work hard, get to that next step, get more money, get more opportunity. And then at the end of the 5 years, our goal is to really train them up to have all of the skills necessary to be a manager or supervisor level.
So Todd, I want to stop a little bit, like go back a little bit actually, and ask you what has prompted the creation of this program, and what specific needs or goals does it address within your company, within your group? Could you elaborate on that, please?
Yeah. So the reason it was started Number one, we were able to bring individuals into the business, but as a lot of businesses out there, retention and attrition rates, retention was low, attrition was high. So we took a step back and said, what we're doing now, obviously with posting jobs, interviewing individuals, it wasn't necessarily working to how everyone wanted it to work. So we took a step back. We talked with our operations team. We talked with our senior leadership and really dove into, at the end of the day, what do you want in an employee from a maintenance standpoint? And obviously there was numerous calls, a lot of talk, obviously technical skills, we get all that, but we took it a step further. They wanted people to show up to work. They wanted people with high integrity. They wanted people with a drive, a long-term vision of their career, as just they didn't want another stop at Harbor Group, right? So, and somebody with an unparalleled work ethic, someone who's going to come in, do exact whatever they need to do in order to get that job done to make sure our residents and our customers are happy. So essentially we built that into our interview process and built some behavioral based questions around that, those couple of items that I just mentioned. Yeah. So does that answer your question, Adrian?
Yes, yes, absolutely does.
Cool.
Eddie, can you hear us, sir? I see that you're on, but you have the camera off and you're muted. Can you hear
Yeah,
us? See us?
yeah, yeah. I'm here. I'm here.
Could you turn your camera on so we could see you too?
I would try to do that right away, but my my computer, I guess, I have some technical issues again. So try to get into the phone to see if I can get my pictures on.
Okay, we'll give you a minute. We're just gonna keep going, and when you're ready, we're just gonna bring you in. Okay, no problem.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you.
So, Todd, how does the program emphasize the growth and development of a maintenance technician employee within the multifamily in general and within your company in particular?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is, let me back up a little bit. So our old process, if you will, we would partner with some technical schools and things like that for individuals that were looking to be in a maintenance type role, a technical type role. Well, unfortunately, a lot of that enrollment is down, and that wasn't kind of an avenue for us anymore, right? So essentially, once we identified individuals from a soft skill standpoint, we start discussing the overall role of a technician, someone that's been doing the work for a period of time. Um, and this it's really, really cool because the apprentice comes in ideally, with minimal technical skills. They might have dabbled with it in the past, but with our first couple of apprentices, we've seen individuals that they don't have the technical skills. They don't have that background, which is exactly what we are looking for. So we've partnered with Eddie and Bob and the operations teams to identify at each level what they want these apprentice candidates, or excuse me, apprentice employees to focus on. So within each level, there are set, parameters, there's set trainings, there are different exams, different certifications, different both internal and external from an apartment, from the NAA standpoint, from multifamily, specific to multifamily. So essentially what our goal is with this is we are looking to really put a lot of time, a lot of money, help these individuals grow both personally, professionally, because when you do that, obviously at the end of the tunnel, hopefully these individuals are going to stick around because there's nothing more positive from a talent standpoint is when individuals can, when they come, they start, at the low end, and then 5, 10 years down the road, they're still here. They're in a manager, a director level, things like that. So that is the end goal of what we're trying to accomplish.
Okay, I'm fascinated by the fact that you're mentioning a vision, right? You're looking at 5, 10 years ahead, which is
Yep.
amazing because it's typically something that is to be desired
Yep.
in our environment, right?
Yep.
And I commend your company for starting this because I think it's much needed. So that really takes me to the career path conversation,
Yep.
and I want to ask you. How does this program facilitates, right, the long-term growth? So how do you, I understand this is the long-term goal, but
Yeah.
how does, like, just kind of walk me through the thinking behind
Yep.
the mechanisms behind how it's gonna facilitate the long-term growth.
Yeah, so great question. And that was kind of a fear of ours initially. We're going to start this program, and how are we going to make it work, essentially? Because something like this, when an organization isn't accustomed to an apprentice type role or a program, there's a lot of logistics involved, a lot. So essentially, what current state. So a couple of things. We are working very, very, very closely with the operations team. Weekly calls, meetings, just a lot of that, just to ensure we're getting the full picture on kind of what's going on, right? Because think about it. We got apprentice candidates, new employees thrown into multifamily. We need to make sure, number one, that from a headspace standpoint, they're okay. They're doing well. People are treating them well. They're learning things like that. Number two, so we have a very robust career path, right? That has very detailed weekly, monthly, annually, different goals that they have to hit. So essentially, and that was kind of our thinking. We're starting small because this it requires a lot of work. Currently, it is being handled by the talent acquisition team in conjunction with everybody. But the TA team here at Harbor Group is the nucleus, ensuring that no signature is missed, ensuring that every T is crossed, every I is dotted, just to make sure the program is running effectively. Additionally, Eddie and the operations team, the maintenance team here, they are fully bought in as well with kind of our plan. And it requires a lot of effort on their behalf too, because you got to think of it, as Adrian, multifamily, service, maintenance, hectic stuff. People's ACs, break, fridges go out, whatever that might be, that's their top priority. And then you throw an apprentice, employee on top of that. You got to train them, you got to work with them, you got to show them the ropes. So if if it wasn't for the ops team, the maintenance team here, and their willingness to try something new and be bought into what we're trying to do, this thing would not work at all, because just a lot of moving parts. Like I said, a lot of pieces to the puzzle. But fortunately, and hopefully Eddie would say the same thing. We work, I mean, almost like I so enjoy working with the ops team. They're very communicative. We just we have the same vision, and when you have that same vision, man, it makes what your end goal is, trying to get there, a heck of a lot easier.
Well, Eddie just joined us, so welcome to the show, Eddie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you here. Eddie, you're the regional maintenance manager at Harbor Group, or one of them, I should say, right? Is that correct?
Correct.
I want you to, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, about your background, and what you're currently doing at Harbor Group.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So my name is Eddie Melendez. I'm a regional maintenance manager for Harbor Group during the last 6 years. So a little bit about myself. I started this business as a porter back in 2001. So I migrated from Puerto Rico to United States, and I earned my way up. So I see the opportunity back in the day. So how you can learn so much, and I always use this as a gift to give. So during the course of the year, so I I taste pretty much the market in all the aspect with maintenance. So I started with appliances, HVAC, plumbing, electrical. So and the piece of the ingredient for me to be successful is just to communicate better and learn how to listen and work with the teams. So from start to end. So actually, right now I'm running the Northeast region, which is Philadelphia, New York, New Jersey, and Boston.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction to letting us in on your background a little bit and what you're currently doing. I want to ask you, Eddie, what gets you most excited about this program, and what's your contribution to it? Like, what type of role do you play in the program?
Sure. What is thrilled me most about this program is how Todd and his team, uh, the vision that they have for the program. So it's similar that like we do every single day. Um, is well organized. So it's not cutting corners. It's just straight to the point that it will be really successful, and I'm really strong in my commitment to say that it will be really successful. My contribution as the other regional maintenance manager is to educate the team by promoting um, classes such as HVAC, plumbing, electrical. We have a great facility in Columbus, Ohio, where we can do all those trainings firsthand with the apprentice. So that's pretty much my contribution and follow up with them once they are back into the property. So in my visit, so I just go over. So what much improvement we has been made and how much ground we had to cover to get even better. So that's pretty much my contribution with the program.
I want to stay a little bit on the subject of your training facilities, Eddie, right? I like for you to reveal a little bit more about the training facility. Like, what is it like? You know, what is it made out of? What type of I guess trades do you train over there? And how many people do you train a year? Like, just give us some more insight on that. That's a very, very interesting conversation right there that
Sure.
I picked up on.
All right, sure. So at the training facility is in Columbus, Ohio. It came to us as a part of one acquisition that we have in the particular location area. So the facility has um, pretty much all the components. So we're talking about we have a board where we have all the electrical components in that board. So we shows how the electricity comes from outside to the building and how is pretty much spread into the whole apartment. What is a three-way switch? What is an outlet? What is a switch? How they wiring the switch? So on the backboard of the electrical components, so the apprentice can see physically what exactly is the wiring in those outlets, GFI outlets, and light switch. So we have another station where we have a plumbing. So we have a plumbing, a sink. On the sinks, we have the disposal. We teach them how to take the disposal. We teach them how to connect the disposal because we have the electrical components as well. But we also have a piping exposed where we can show to the apprentice what kind of cable we can put in the line and what is allowed to put in those lines to unclog sometimes the lines. So we have another station where we have appliances. We have the dishwasher, we have the stove, we have refrigerators. So, and they can be hands-on and see what is in the evaporator fans and see what is the valve for the dishwasher, the pump for the dishwasher, an element for the oven. So we explain to them what is all the components from those appliances. Then we have another station where we have the HVAC. So we have a split unit system, we have a heat pump, so we have even old-fashioned furnace with the pilot, which is you probably know that in this industry we still have those type of furnace. what we explained today, what is the thermocouple, what is the nator, what is the flame sensor, what is the baseboard. So everything is visual. And that's the beauty of this, because they can have an idea and visualize. So, okay, what I need to do here and how I'm going to do it because I see it. So, and it's really important because we have a tremendous talent in our company. So we have six regional managers, and everybody has their strength. So we share, we gather all this information, we put everything together. We have an amazing boss, which is Bob Lee. He review everything, all the documents that we put out there. So, and it's really important that people understand in this industry. So when you are more visual, it's attracting people because they can see how they function, how they work.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm just gonna go back to previous statement that Todd made, and he said that you've been partnering with technical schools in the past. That wasn't really something that worked out for your group. And my personal experience is very similar. I have actually hired a lot of graduates from technical schools, and basically, they have a very high level of expectation once they graduate and get their diploma. But in reality, when it comes to the real deal, to like handing them a service request and say, fix the problem, they don't have enough, they don't have the skill set sometimes to even troubleshoot the very basic things. So basically here they are, like 6 months or 12 or 18 months going through the program and coming out with a diploma at a high expectation level, and when it comes to execution, they don't have enough to execute. So I could be frustrating for them, because they want to study, they thought that this is going to change their life, and it's also frustrating for us as an employer to have someone that we thought that they had a base of skills, and that base we're learning that doesn't exist most of the times. So that brings me to the next question, right? And that's a question for Todd right there. So Todd, what are the things that you're looking for when recruiting individuals for this program? Certain things, certain trades. Is there a testing that you do ahead of time? Is it you did mention that for the most part there are people that have no technical background, right? Like they're just completely green, right?
Yeah.
You're taking them and you're accepting them that way. I like for you to just kind of wait on what are the advantages of taking someone that has never been in a position to troubleshoot something. Like they're not bringing any type of skills with them. So
yeah, totally. So a couple of things. You asked about maybe like the industry and kind of some things we look for. Not really. I mean, there's not a specific industry we're targeting necessarily. We are targeting the things that you cannot train. Okay. You cannot train someone who's of high integrity. You can't. They can talk about it, but if our interview process with screening questions, both from on our ATS, when people are applying, to our behavioral based questions when they're talking to a member of my team, we have a very good understanding of if they are a person of high integrity. Number two, you cannot train reliability. You cannot, if you just can't train it, so we look for and try and screen out the best we can, someone who's been reliable in the past. All of our questions are geared towards the reliability piece. We do give all of our apprentice folks who pass the initial screener, they do get a very detailed assessment that we have some serious we've worked with it in the past. It's proven really good for us. That does measure a couple of these things that I'm talking about. Last, work ethic. Somewhat, is the workforce is changing, and work ethics are changing. And unfortunately, or fortunately and unfortunately, what we do, we need people that want to be here. That when they're here, they're going to give it their all and make our residents happy, because without residents, we don't have Harbor Group. So those couple of things. Another thing that we look for, you know, is someone who's loyal, right? We don't necessarily we want, you know, from a resume standpoint, you know, if they've worked at, say, different hardware stores or different packaging facilities or something, but they've had that long job tenure, that says something, right? They were there for a long time, they gave it their all. So often we focus on the technical aspect, and we miss, the individuals that were at, 10 different jobs in the last 10 years. Well, chances are, if we do hire that individual, they're going to be here for about a year, or less, in today's day and age. So, trying to really, really, really focus on the things that you can't train, and then we have a very tenured operations maintenance team. So bringing Eddie in his team, and Bob and his team in on this side, so we know we got like a well-rounded individual, and we're going to hand them over to the guys and gals that are technical, and teach them from the grassroots, how to do things the right way. And once that's done, then hopefully we have a very well-rounded individual that is going to take our career path and stay long term.
My next question is going to be for both of you, but I'm going to have parts of the questions for Eddie, and then I'll come back to you. Todd, so Eddie, talk to me about the training curriculum. What is the training curriculum that you guys provide for this apprenticeship program? So talk to me about some details on a training curriculum. What do you train?
Well, we start with the basics. So I used state before, so it's hard to bring somebody from outside who doesn't have the skill sets. So we cannot training to an apprentice to know what is a superheater, what is a supercooling, because he doesn't know the principles of the HVAC. So we start with the roots. So like, for example, we start with the safety. So on the safety, we explain to them every time you use electricals, components, or you work with electricity. So there's some safety guidelines that we have to do. So we start from the basics. So, and we learn with them what they know about the fear to work in the maintenance field. So once we know that, so we win the battle right there, because now training, Adrian, training sometimes people, it's a gift. And sometimes you have to understand the apprentice or the person that you're going to train. So I cannot talk about things that I'm not capable to do, but I can probably demonstrate things that I can be capable to do. So when we do that in this program, it's so much easier. So up to the points that we have an apprentice, like give you one example, we sent him back to the property, and that at the third day he was replacing the wheel and the motor from the furnace motor. So, and we are glad that we see him using all the safety protocols, and he was doing everything in the right way. So when we start pinpointing how we're going to training and what is the basics, so like, for example, so we go straight to the roots. So we made this interesting for them. So there's room for fail. So the room for fail is give you an opportunity for learn. So, and once we do that, so the apprentice had that confidence to pretty much, this is the third week, probably the third week for the apprentice, or the 4 weeks, they are running already by themselves. So that's the successful part of this program.
Going back to you, Todd, and same question, but I wanted to ask you what kind of company policies and other resources your company is providing to the apprentices.
Yeah. So good question. So, typically, what's obviously this is a full-time position, this isn't the part-time train. Once we hire you, you are a full-on Harbor Group employee. So with that, obviously comes all the perks and benefits of being a Harbor Group employee. Policy standpoint, specific to the program, we are very fortunate to have an LMS system, a learning management software here, that all the apprentices, we have a custom learning plan that we have created for the apprentices, that they do have to follow all those procedures, all those policies, just like Eddie was kind of talking about. Um, and then each level, we need to ensure that these individuals are retaining the information that is being, obviously given to them, right? Um, so there are, there's testing, there's percentages and things like that that these individuals do have to, meet or exceed, in each of the job codes as they move through the career path. Trying to think anything else. I mean, obviously, from a policy standpoint, just remaining in good policy, right? There's a lot of different things that Harbor Group employees are involved in. A lot of different policies that we need to obviously sign, just like anywhere else. So we need to remain compliant with all that. But I wouldn't say much else. I don't know if Eddie has anything to add. I mean, from a policy standpoint, it's lots of learning and lots of testing within each module, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The beauty,
Add?
yeah, yes. The beauty of this too is, as Todd explained, we have LMS courses, but in addition to, our company have an extended and well-written hybrid group SOP. So in our SOP, we dedicate probably more than, I would say, in the maintenance department, probably from, I would say, 1,500 pages of SOP related to maintenance, from safety, from code of conduct, from uniforms. I mean, it go over the top. So it's accessible to any single Harvard Group employee, which is the beauty of limited some questions and some answer, because you can find your answer right there in the SOP. But as policies is really standard. It is really easy. So I will say, adding to what Todd already explained, so it's easy to navigate and teach them how to follow the policies.
Yep.
So Todd, you are an apprentice. You're being hired. It's your first day with Harbor Group. What do you expect? What would you be doing the first, second, third day?
Yeah, so glad you asked, because this is what I'm super super excited about.
Mhm.
So we did just kick off our inaugural class, if you will. 3 individuals we hired across the country. So picture this, right? You're out in California, you apply for a job, you go through our entire interview process for the apprentice program, you get the job, and we say, okay, we're gonna fly you from Los Angeles to Columbus, Ohio, and we're gonna put you through an intense 3-day course orientation to welcome you to Harbor Group. So members of HR, members of the operations team, will be there. And we had a very, very, very structured, just planned orientation, obviously getting all the paperwork and all that stuff, out of the way. But then just a really, really positive, interactive 3 days, with built-in, teamwork events at night. Um, it was so much fun. I was fortunate enough to go with my team and Eddie, and we showered them with a bunch of just a cool Harbor Group swag. We had just a really neat welcome tool bag for them with a bunch of cool stuff in it. Dinners, lunches, and we're very keen on what could we do better, right? So when these 3 days were over, we surveyed all three of these individuals, and some of the reviews we got back were absolutely amazing, that almost could bring tears in my eyes, because it's a lot of hard work. And then when this happens, and these individuals all across the board said they've never experienced anything like this. So I'm going to keep a lot of the stuff confidential, but it was fun. And man, I just think it was an eye opener for all three of these individuals, that companies still do this to this day.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing experience, right? onboarding, if you wish, right? You could call it a kickoff, but to spend your first 3 days at a job as a like newbie, as a green person, and get this type of like attention, and being showered with gifts and fun stuff. Like, man, I love to stick around. If this is the way we start, I like to see where we're heading.
Right.
These first 3 days are amazing. So that question next, right? The program is 10-week long. Is it correct?
Correct.
How have you completed any cycles, or are you at the first cycle right now? So you're just starting, right? Your first set?
Yeah.
How many people do you have? How many apprentices do you have in a program? How many?
Right now, just 3. So strategically across the US, we looked at our apartment communities, our geographies, our regions, and how our operations team is structured. What some of the operations teams, they have capacity at this point. Like, there was a big old project that went into selecting the 3 locations that we're putting apprentices in. Moving forward, we'd love to see this be the way of the hire. I mean, moving forward, I think obviously we're always going to need and always welcome individuals that have been in the industry for a long time. That is the skills and experiences invaluable, right? But future state, I would make me so proud if we got to a point where this is how we hired individuals.
Follow-up question here, Todd. You mentioned about the 3 you're starting with. Obviously, you want to make this like your practice. This is how you should be hiring people. Plans of scaling. How are you actually planning on scaling, on expanding this to like maybe 10 or 15 or 20 individuals at a time?
Totally. And that was totally. And that was another reason we wanted to start small, right? Because if we went too big, get too big, and we weren't, essentially our thought process is checkpoints, and we want to make sure that each of our levels that we have come up with, as the apprentices go through it, we want to make sure that was it valuable to the apprentice? Was it valuable to our operations team? Number one. And number 2, if not, what can we change? What can we what do we need to implement? Do we need more time on this? Do we need more time on that? So we're going to give our program a good probably 6 to 10 months to before I'm able to probably even answer that question. Right now we are full on with these 3 individuals, and we're going to make sure that they are learning. We're going to make sure that our operations team is fully supported. But I will say a lot of our teams that are hiring teams throughout the country have called and called me specifically, and I'm sure Eddie has heard this, and asked if they can turn some of their openings into the apprentice style opening. To which obviously we're not going to do that yet, but the feedback from teams across the country, others want this too. So Adrian, we'll stay in touch, and I'll let you know, but right now it's these 3 individuals.
I love to follow your journey, and I like to maybe do a follow-up episode with both of you. I do wanted to say, I think starting with 3 individuals to see how it works out and understand where what you did great and where you might have had some room for improvement. It's a brilliant idea. I've seen rollouts in general speaking, that they were rolled out company-wide without actually having been tested on a small groups of sites or individuals, and every single time there's a lot of pain involved. There's a lot of pain involved. So I commend your group for thinking about this and starting small, and then of course working out the challenges and finding out how we can do better next time. And then adding more.
Totally. Process. Yeah, and what we don't want to do, be real, pretty blunt. We don't want this to be a Oh yeah, remember that one time we tried the apprentice program and it didn't work, we don't want that's not going to happen. Not with our team in place, the passion behind this thing and so we're going to grow it. It'll be done the right way. And we want those apprentice candidates to talk to their friends and their individuals and say, man, I had the best experience and I still work here. And then that's how we'll grow organically. So really excited for it though, to see where it kind of takes off.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting. And I'm going to put it on my calendar. We got to follow up
Sure. Love
three,
it.
4 months, 6 months down the road and find out where you're at with the program. Because
Great.
it's one of the very few that I'm aware of. I'm not saying that that's what exists, right? I'm sure that there are others I don't know about, but I like to, I appreciate, your willingness to come here on the show and just like talk about it. I think it's a great example. Like it makes your, it helps your company, like getting the message out there that, there's some amazing things that you're doing. And it also lets other companies know that like, this is a good thing, right? We might consider doing the same thing. I think just best practices. It's a wonderful thing in our industry, and I've been very fortunate to always be in touch with people like the two of you that are super willing to share. Right? They're not trying to keep things close to the chest and like we're just doing the secret thing, right? No, let's make it public. Let's make
Yeah.
it very successful and let others copy us. Because at the end of the day, the entire industry benefits. It's not just one person. It's not just one company. If
Agree.
every company does better, all of us, each one of us will do better individually, and the same goes for each company.
Totally agree.
Next, I want to switch to Eddie. And Eddie, my question to you is, okay, we did this 3-day kickoff, amazing stuff. Walk me through the rest of the program for the 10 weeks. Like, what is it expected? How much hands-on during the day, during the 8-hour day, and what are the things that are being taught? Like, for example, be as detailed as you can. For example, okay, so what do we do week one? Are we doing like basic plumbing, basic HVAC? I just try to have a better understand of, how are they spending their time during this 10-week period.
So the week one, so they are in our home base, pretty much in a training center as we speak. So once we finish the week, they return to the property. So they will be with the maintenance supervisor for the next week. So the maintenance supervisor is pretty much is reassess the property with them. So they're gonna show to them, so the landscape, they're gonna show to them all the shut-off valve, gas valve, everything that we have in the property. So once we have the maintenance, the apprentice with the knowledge, so we start with the basics. We go to vacancy unit. We're gonna do turns. So we show to them how to do the turns. So we start from right to left and check all the turns and master those turns. So what is important for us because is our standards. So once we finish that, we give you the opportunity to them to troubleshooting in the vacancy unit. Like for example, okay, I have to replace these outlets. Let's do it in the vacant units. Let's do this plumbing job. Let's do it in the vacant units. So once we are probably the week 2, week 3, so we start now sending them out. So then in sending them out, they will be running the work orders and the interaction with the residents. So not to mention that they are next to a maintenance tech, so who is pretty much a shadow. So how we communicate with the resident, how we accepting the resident criticism. So and all those kind of I will say huddles that we experience every day in the maintenance field. So uh, we talk with them a lot. So how it's important to have the courtesy and as Todd speak early. So when we hire those candidates, those apprentices, one thing that are we looking is their character. So how they react, how they speak, how they talk with people, and that make pretty much the job more easier. So once they know how they're gonna face it in the field, so by week 4 or 5, so they will be running service requests. So we're talking about service requests running probably for the next 4 or 6 weeks. So and then we go to the next stage. the next stage would be probably we're going to go HVAC. We're going to start teaching a little bit more for prepare them for the 608 EPA certification. So, and little by little, we keep adding more and more onto to the point that we got the 10 week. So they will be as value as a supervisor in the field. That's our main goal.
Excellent. Eddie, is this 100% in-house program, or do you outsource any parts of the program?
No, this is in-house. This is pure Todd, baby. So we do this from the ground zero together, and this is all in-house. Yes.
Amazing. I want to switch back to Todd, and Todd, ask you, besides this amazing way to get new talent into the door and develop, what other out-of-the-box ways to attract talented maintenance professionals do you have at Harbor? Just share some tricks of the trade with us here.
Yeah, no, I think first and foremost, I need to edit kind of what Eddie said. It's not just me. I have an amazing, fantastic, one of the best teams in the business that behind the scenes, I'm just fortunate enough to get on here and discuss the all the good stuff that's going on with it. So, to answer your question, I think you got to get a little bit different, right? Because gone are the days that you post a job and just tons of people are applying, and it's like, man, I don't even know what to do with all these great individuals, because that's just not happening, right? So we have really fantastic referral program internally, for all of our associates across the business, that it's uncapped, that people know people, and that's the best way to get good individuals. Number two is my team, we get out and we meet individuals, right? So I think people or candidates are not tired of, but kind of sitting behind a camera, right? We're getting out, we're hitting the streets, and be it if there's a career fair or something along those lines from a technical standpoint in a geography, we'll attend it. And we've had some really cool success in just hosting our own open houses. And remember, my team will go out and we'll talk to people all day, and bring some snacks, bring some tchotchkes, and some spread the some HG love, and that's been really cool. And then on the flip side, once we talk to those individuals, and they get comfortable with us, we hire them, and then we bring them in from an internal referral standpoint. That's been a big turn for us. New associate referrals, and kind of doing some spiffs on that. So, you probably notice none of this stuff it's not, we still have to post, we still have to do all that stuff. But, we're so focused on networking and getting out to people that aren't looking for jobs, that aren't sending resumes all over the place. The grassroots, man, old school, like we got to talk to people and get that personal connection back. So it's been really, really, really positive for us, and we've seen some amazing results. Now, we still, obviously post and do all that stuff too, and we still get fantastic candidates that way too. But thinking outside the box is the new way.
Switching gears a little bit, and I'm going back to Eddie. Eddie, centralization is kind of like one of the buzzwords today in the property management. Is that a part of the conversation at Harbor Group's centralization in maintenance, right? And if that's part of the conversation, could you share some initiatives that you guys think were considered as part of centralized maintenance?
Oh, yes. That's a good question. So we planning, like, for example, we have 6 regions as a regional maintenance manager. So as we stay early, so we start baby step. We just centralization everybody now to one region. So we have the door open for the future. So the future is brilliant right now for us too. So once we get those numbers up and running in the way that we expecting, so the centralization will be different in different markets. So that's what probably I can probably tell you right now for now. But yes, it's in our thoughts. We're gonna work with that too.
Gentlemen, amazing conversation. Thank you very much for coming here. I'd like to get your final thoughts. Say something you wish you would have said you didn't have the opportunity to, or answer a question you wish I would have asked. So, Todd, I'm gonna start with you.
Oh man. No, final thoughts. I think if whoever watches this, right, hopefully we have shared shed a little bit of light on some of the things that companies aren't doing. And we have to cast a wide net, and we have to narrow it down with practices that we know work, be it through solid interviewing, be it through selection tools, be it through training and testing. And the talent development is not someone sitting behind a computer and watching 15,000 hours of webinars, and that's nice, and that's a nice to have. But getting out there, and individuals want to learn, they want to be shown love, they want to be shown the future. And quite frankly, I think we've captured all of this in our kind of beta program, and we're super pumped. And I would welcome a follow-up call anytime, Adrian.
It's definitely on my list. Eddie, any final thoughts?
Yes, my final thoughts is as well. I hope people who see this amazing program understand the goodwill that we have and the good intentions to work with the industry and get things done in the right way. Also, I want to mention something. I'm a person that I'm really detailed, and you put maybe like 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago in LinkedIn, you put a chat where you have a person who got a college, got 4 years degree with probably over $100,000 debt, versus a guy who went to the trade school, no debt, and make us equal. So I just want to give you the final thoughts to the audience that it's always an opportunity. In life, always it is. Thank you so much.
Finally, Todd, how can someone get in touch with you, sir?
Yeah.
Someone watching this episode, how can they get in contact with you? So leave us some information.
I am hopefully everywhere, right? So LinkedIn is obviously a huge avenue for me. I'm extremely active. Send me an individual message, I will respond. My email address is out there as well, but I will give it here, which is my first initial T, and then my last name, Barber, Barber. And so it's tbarber at Harbor, HARBOR, the letter G for group.com. So tbarber at harborg.com. Last but not least, cell phone 757-642-8500.
How about you, Eddie? How can someone get in touch with you? Someone that wants to, connect.
Absolutely. I have the same type of platforms on LinkedIn, so you can find me. I will respond back to you. My email is again, so it's with letter E as in Edward, Melendez, MELENDEZ as in zebra, at harborg.com. So, and my cell phone number is 757-408-9726.
Gentlemen, outstanding conversation. Thank you again so much to take an hour out of your busy day to be here on Multifamily Chronicles and share amazing things that you have going on at Harbor Group.
Yeah, thanks, Adrian. Look forward to staying in touch, and good luck to you with your new endeavors.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank
you for watching us today. This is Multifamily Chronicles. I'm your host, Adrian Danela, and I hope to see you back here soon. Have a great day.